Hey, what's up guys, Pattycakes here. I wanted to give a quick reaction video to the TWAB that came out today, which is a couple thoughts that I had while reading it, and kind of see what your thoughts are as well. So this one's completely unscripted, I'm just kind of giving my thoughts off the cuff, so hopefully we won't ramble on too much. So in this TWAB we basically talked about a whole bunch of different seasonal things that are coming next season, and I didn't really want to talk too much about that because I feel like it's all interesting things, but I heavily agree with my buddy Ascendant Nomad's video recently. I'll link to that in the description, where the core problem to me isn't so much like, I don't know, these checklists of things to do, but it's more about the actual gameplay experience could use some big improvements first, and I feel like that's kind of where the focus should be instead of, you know, just kind of more check boxes and stars to get. So I'm not going to riff on that too much because I feel like Nomad did a really good job explaining that, and I kind of echo his thoughts on where he made that video. So I'll just link to that in the description. The part that I did want to talk more about though is this back to the sandbox section. So the first thing I noticed as soon as I read this is that I went over to Twitter and oh my gosh, there's an explosion of people reacting, raging, all kinds of different things. And I don't know, to me, the big problem is actually just that it's another case where it seems like the changes that are happening in the game are not reflective of the things that the player base has, generally speaking, been asking for. And I think it's just one of those things where frustration tends to build up with stuff like this over time. And when, you know, the community asks for things that aren't reflected in the changes, it just gets really frustrating. So just to kind of recap what's going on here, they announced that they're going to be nerfing mouse and keyboard stability, changing the difference from about 40% to 20%, which will probably be pretty noticeable on mouse and keyboard for things especially like hand cannons, auto rifles, SMGs. And personally, that change I'm not like super excited about. Obviously, it's going to make the game a little bit harder to play, but I don't think that's really the main issue that a lot of people are worried about. The bigger gripe, in my opinion, is that it seems like this is one of those issues where controller players, especially on console, have been asking for stability improvements for literally years in Destiny 2, ever since the game first came out. Things like submachine guns, auto rifles, pulse rifles, hand cannons are just really difficult to use on controller because of the recoil, and I think unnecessarily so. So what Bungie decided to do is to increase the recoil on mouse and keyboard instead to bring it up more to parity. Personally, the thing I would have preferred to see is for controllers to actually get a recoil improvement, to have more stability, to bring them more in line with mouse and keyboard, but then to drastically reduce aim assist across the board. I think having too much aim assist is one of the biggest plagues of this game right now, and it makes it so basically anyone can get kills with very little effort, which leads to overall player frustration. This is on top of problems like stasis still being way overtuned in the Crucible, and even the recent Shatter Dive nerf really wasn't that effective because it targeted the wrong thing in my opinion. They should have gone more for the radius of the fissures explosion instead of targeting just Shatter Dive the ability. And we still have the Dustfield grenades pulling people in from a crazy radius, and the Titan Behemoth Super having way too much damage resist and lasting just way too long. In my off time when I'm not streaming or working on Destiny videos, I've been spending a lot of time recently playing Apex Legends and Battlefield 4, which are both really fun to play. And one of the things that I've really appreciated about both of these games is that you actually have to hit your shots much more accurately. It's a lot more rewarding when it feels like your aim actually matters, which is something that I think could be greatly improved in Destiny. It's been honestly pretty eye-opening when I completely whiff someone in Apex that I definitely would have landed all those shots in Destiny with the aim assist. And overall, I think it's actually making me a better player by having to focus on my aim more. In the TWAB, they also talk about increasing flinch for sniper rifles, which are getting another nerf. And I don't mind this that much because it is annoying to put in shots against a sniper and get domed, but the thing is, if aim assist was lower across the board, I don't think this would happen nearly as much. To me, a lot of the core problems in this game lately stem around having too much aim assist and abilities being too strong. It's to the point where I barely even feel like playing modes like Trials of Osiris anymore. I do have a gameplay coming out probably tomorrow with my friends Pattycakes and Fallout Plays, where we had some fun in Trials, but outside of playing with friends occasionally, I really just don't even want to touch the mode in its current state. And most of that is because of the two biggest problems that they actually didn't even address in this TWAB, which are cheaters and 3-peakers. Even several months now after Trials came back, we're still plagued by constant games against cheaters. It's to the point now where it feels almost guaranteed to come against a group of cheaters if you play a couple cards. And even if you don't, you're definitely going to come across some players who slow the game way down by 3-peaking behind corners. And yet another week goes by where there's still no mention of either of these problems. And we're starting to see this reflected in the player numbers. This week was actually, I believe, the lowest population on PC ever for Trials, and it was one of the lowest overall as well. It makes me really sad because Destiny has been my favorite game for a long time. I've been playing this game since the first week it came out in Destiny 1, and I absolutely love it, but I have to be honest, a lot of my interest in it is starting to wane. And I feel like the changes that Bungie are making lately are just not in line with what the community is asking for. I really think it might be time for another community summit where the Bungie developers are able to get together with some community members, content creators, and just general day-to-day players to get a feel for how the average player is feeling about the game. I know Destiny has basically become a job for me with my content creation life, but even still, I mostly approach it as a player and a fan. And it's frustrating because it always feels like it's 1 or 2 steps away from being really great again. So I want to wrap up this video with a few predictions based on the stuff that we see in the TWAB. Number 1 is that I think stability on hand cannons for PC mouse and keyboard users is going to be even more important than before. I was already a player who advocated for having rolls on 120 RPM hand cannons that had stability buffs, things like ricochet rounds, steady rounds, and the steady hand sight. And to me, these will be even more important than before. I also believe that Sturm, which is already one of the best, if not the actual best hand cannon in Destiny right now, is going to be even stronger. For 2 main reasons. Number 1, having the ability to reload your other weapon while having good performance with Sturm is going to make it even more helpful, and it already has some of the best stability of any 120 hand cannon. To me, this is going to be a clear winner. The other thing is that I think duality is already underused, and it's a pretty good shotgun if you know how to use it correctly, and this is going to be even better now. I'm going to have to make a video about it soon because I really do enjoy this shotgun, and I feel like a lot of people don't know how to use this correctly. Overall, I'm really excited for crossplay to come to Destiny, and I think it's just a natural evolution in the franchise. I've been playing a lot of games like Warzone and Apex Legends lately that do have crossplay, and it really doesn't seem like a big deal as long as they handle it properly. So I'm going to wrap the video up there, but I would love to know in the comments, what do you think about these changes? Do you feel like the mouse and keyboard nerfs are justified, or they went the wrong direction with this one? I'd love to hear your thoughts. That's all for now. Catch you guys next time.